Good morrow, my good bitch. Welcome to Caplio, where I do readings for strangers on the internet. My name is Betha, and today we are going to have a little conversation with a certain aspect of your shadow. If you look here, I kind of have 3 different affirmations all on these cards, and we're going to kind of delve into maybe a certain side of your shadow that is poking through that kind of needs to hear these affirmations right now. We're going to delve into maybe a little bit of why it's there, what some of the healing we can do to kind of listen to this shadow aspect and kind of work and adapt with it, and maybe something that's coming for you after you've kind of worked through this part of your shadow and healed it a little bit more. But anyway, like I said, I've got these 3 options in front of you. We have this pink calcite here with the I am enough card. We have a blue sodalite here with the I am capable card. Or we have I am worthy with the petrified wood. So whichever one feels like it's speaking to you, whichever one feels like it resonates the most, or whichever one feels like it's catching your eye more. If none of these seem to vibe with you, that's fine. Maybe this is a reading for another time. I do have other readings on my page to go check out. Or, you know, if there's more than one vibing with you, maybe there's more than one message here for you. But if nothing else, now's the time to choose your pile, and I have the links to the timestamps in the description below. Let's get into your reading. Hello to my pile 1. If you chose the pink calcite or the I am enough card, then this reading is going to be for you. Today we are delving into a specific section of your shadow and trying to get an understanding of what's going on here and how we can work with and love this aspect of ourself deeper into evolution. I did a little bit of a automatic writing kind of scry once I got the affirmations for these cards. And let's see if this seems to resonate at all. Sometimes I feel like I have to work or behave in a certain way in order to be worthy of receiving the things I need or desire. It's hard for me to fathom I am worthy and deserving of love simply because I exist. This can show up as restlessness and quiet, chronic burnout, or consistent people-pleasing. I am tired. Show me I am enough just as I am. I think the card kind of says it all. I think that if you resonate with this at all, then you might be the kind of person who feels like they are overgiving in relationships, who feels like you are, whether it be monetarily or with your time or your energy, constantly trying to be there for other people. The kind of person who feels like their plate is always full, or they always have something they need to be gunning for, or the next thing that they should be doing. And there's this kind of story that comes to mind for me with this group. I get this image of like a chef who's constantly making these beautifully presented, elaborate dishes for everybody. And they're always in the kitchen and they're working on something. And they can pump out these dishes like it's nothing. And like I said, they are elaborate, they're beautiful, everybody thinks that they're so delicious. And then when somebody comes back and says that they don't like a certain thing, the chef gets very down on themselves and very upset and tries even harder to perfect the next dish. But when it comes to the chef actually making meals for themselves, I see them like grabbing a frozen dish and throwing it in the microwave or eating out of a Tupperware container rather than these elaborately prepared dishes that they've given to other people. And a huge thing I'm also hearing is like how important rest might be for this group. And I feel like it's one of those things where when you do get into a position where you get to sit down and chill for a while, your mind is just reeling with what else you have to do or what you could be doing at this time, rather than, you know, maybe you turn to like doom scrolling or binge watching a show, or even just sitting down and taking a breath. It feels like your mind is still cluttered with all the things that you could be doing. I want to get into a couple of tarot cards real quick to kind of explore this energy further and see what the spirit guides, angels, and ancestors might have to say about this certain aspect. Let's see what comes through here. We have Strength in Reverse, the World, the Empress, and bottom of the deck energy we have the 10 of Wands here. Starting with this Strength in Reverse card, I'm getting this kind of hopeless energy. Almost as if there's something specific here. And that in some area of your life, there's something specific For some of you, it might be a person. For some of you, it might be just like a project that you want to see results on. And I feel like you keep putting forth this effort, you keep putting forth this energy, and you're just not seeing it come to fruition. And that pushes you to want to put more energy into something and put more production into this project. But at the same time, it feels like you're kind of losing hope on this said thing taking off or coming into fruition. Ironically enough, I'm hearing freedom sets you free. I think it's this idea of, first off, embodying this concept of you are worthy and you are simply enough because you exist. Because you are putting in this effort, because you are trying. It is not your lack of effort that is holding you back right now. I'm seeing it more of this aspect of needing to be in this receptive energy that we see here with the Empress. I get this idea that maybe you are the kind of group that you feel more secure if you have your hand in the game. You know what I mean? If you there's this story coming to mind where it's like, you feel like in order to receive a cookie, you need to put your hand in the cookie jar and tangibly grab the cookie. But instead, maybe you asked a friend to go get you a cookie. And now you're worried in the back of your mind, like, I don't think my friend is going to go grab me the cookie. Maybe I should just go in there and get the cookie for myself. I'm also hearing the new girl, you gave me cookie. You gave me cookie, I give you cookie. You know, that scene where, like, Schmidt gave Nick a cookie simply because he cares about him and he loves him. So Nick is kind of reeling with this concept of, how do I show you that I care about you too? So he tries to give him a cookie and it's like, it's not the same thing. And it's this idea of, like, Nick being kind of turned off to receiving love because he doesn't quite think that he deserves the kind of love that Schmidt gives him. He doesn't really know how to give back in the way that Schmidt gives to him. So then he feels very upset at the fact that, like, Schmidt, you love me too much. I'm not the one, kind of thing. But, like, Schmidt loves Nick because of who Nick is to him. Nick doesn't have to perform or put on a certain face, right? He just has to be his grumpy, weird, fix things with duct tape self, and Schmidt still loves him for that. I'm sorry if you don't know New Girl, that I hope I explained that well enough for you. But there is this concept of needing to just kind of let things unfold as they're supposed to, rather than turning it up to 11 and continuing to put in so much hard work into something for such little payoff. Maybe taking a step back and appreciating the work that you've already done. I get this other, like, concept of somebody who maybe just graduated and got their degree, and they never really took time to celebrate all of what that meant to them. They were just like, okay, I got the degree, now I need to go get a job. Rather than taking a second to appreciate the fact of, think about how much time and energy goes into a degree. How much you've put into this specific tangible evidence of your hard work, but you're not going to sit there and appreciate the hard work that you've done. You're just going on to the next task on your to-do list. I'm also getting this sense of, like, maybe you guys are the type of people who are there for other people constantly to the detriment of your own things, but you won't ask your friends for help. But this Ten of Wands here, you'll notice that she has this baggage that she's carrying as she's coming down this hill. But she also has this ox here with her. And oxes, to me, I think it's an ox, forgive me on that, but this to me always talks about friendship and social connection. And there's this idea that maybe she was trying hard to get up the hill by herself, and it was very difficult to carry all of these things with her. But once she leaned on the ox for some support to help her carry some of the baggage she had with her, it became a lot easier to kind of scale down and finish the rest of the path. And there's this idea of being okay to accept help from other people when things get to feel like they are so chaotic. This idea that there's nothing wrong with asking for help, and you are still worthy and enough of the things that you desire, even if you're not constantly performing and on this You know what I mean? You don't always have to be this certain version of yourself in order to garner in the things that you desire. Sometimes it's this idea that if the thing you wanted hit you on the head right now, it would feel like there's this imposter syndrome coming through, like, well, who am I to be worthy of this thing? Because you didn't work for it. But you are worthy simply because you exist, is the bottom line here, right? You are enough simply because you exist. I get this idea that maybe you are somebody who is constantly trying to better themselves or trying to go for the next thing. And there's this idea of taking a step back and allowing yourself to appreciate what you've already done, as I said, but also finding a way to enjoy the moments when you don't have anything to do, or create moments where you don't have anything to do. And I'm hearing rest, like anything else, takes practice. So maybe for this group, you grew up in a kind of dynamic where the people around you always were in this go, go, go energy, always gunning for the next thing, which it's good to still have goals once you have accomplished something, because then you have something else to look forward to. But we have to take a second to appreciate where we've already progressed in order to truly appreciate when we've accomplished the next project. You know what I mean? It's this idea that, like, even if you achieved your goal in this moment that you've been gunning for, you wouldn't be able to properly appreciate it because you'd be so fixated on the next goal. And I'm also getting this there's a narrative that I heard a little while back in terms of rest. So for some of you guys, that rest for you might not feel restful, so to speak. Maybe you're not getting a very restful night's sleep, or maybe you still feel drained or burnt out even after you've taken some time for yourself. There's a story that I kind of want to share with you. I found on YouTube a little while back. So in the story, there are two gentlemen, and they're both lumberjacks, we'll call them. I'm not sure what the original, but they're both lumberjacks. And both of them were talking about the muscular of the two. There's one elderly gentleman and there's one younger, muscular lumberjack. And the two of them were having a conversation about who could cut down a tree the fastest. So the muscular lumberjack's like, oh, easy. I'm going to take this guy. He's well up into his elderly ages. There's no way he's going to beat me. So he just starts hacking away at the tree. Hacking away all day, all afternoon, doesn't stop for lunch, just keeps hacking at this tree. The elderly gentleman, however, is turned away and seems to be fiddling with something else the whole time. At one point, as the muscular man is still hacking away at his tree, the elderly gentleman breaks for lunch. At another point, we find the elderly gentleman taking a nap, but this whole time he's turned away and he's doing other things. He hasn't even touched the tree yet. The muscular gentleman is near halfway cutting down his tree when finally the elderly gentleman steps up and starts hacking away at his own tree. Turns out the elderly gentleman ends up cutting down his tree before the muscular gentleman. And the muscular gentleman is confused. He goes, well, how did this happen? I have been hacking away at my tree all day. I saw you eating. I saw you napping. You weren't doing anything. How did you beat me? And the elderly gentleman explains to him. He says, well, I've been sharpening my axe all day. And then I had to break for lunch to make sure that I had enough energy and nutrients to continue to sharpen my axe. And then I took a nap to make sure that I revitalized my energy enough to continue to hack away at the tree afterwards. And it's this idea of using rest to your advantage, so to speak. And I'm not telling you that you need to sit there and research during your lunch break or something like that. But it's this idea of using rest as a means to have fun and revitalize your energy rather than to continue to suck out more of your vitalization, so to speak. Like, within moderation, it's fine every once in a while to sit there and binge watch a show or doom scroll on our phone. And I'm not telling you to stop doing that, and I'm not telling you what to do in general. What I am offering is an idea of perspective and understanding that if we need different kinds of foods with different kinds of nutrients in order to sustain ourselves, if we need a variety of exposure to different kinds of things in other venues of our life in order to sustain ourselves, then maybe we need a variety of rest as well. Maybe you haven't picked up a book in a while and you truly do enjoy reading, so you find yourself taking 15 minutes today to read a couple of chapters. Or maybe you're constantly going to the gym in order to exercise and you find that maybe you want to change it up and go to a park to go for a walk, or take your pets outside and go play with them and run around for a while. I think this group, because we get so fixated on trying to see progress in certain projects or certain venues of our life, we're constantly in this grind that we're not taking a step back to see where we can spice things up and make life more fun again. I'm hearing make life about play again. So there might be like an aspect of your inner child that's been kind of coming out recently where you might be getting a little more frustrated or a little more irritable when doing different things within your routine that used to be easy, but now it's like pulling teeth to kind of get through. And I'm hearing a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So maybe it's about both finding ways to make the things that we're already doing a little more fun by spicing it up, but also adding things to our routine, whether it be a new experience or, cutting out 5 to 15 minutes between activities to rest and enjoy ourselves a little bit. There's this idea of just adding more variety to the picture. So like I said, I feel like the two things that might help you with this concept of feeling enough where you're at could be to appreciate things from the past that you've already accomplished, to see your capability and how far you've already come. But to also find more variety in the things that are fixed within your schedule, or to find more variety in the ways that you are resting and taking care of yourself. There's also this idea of like, it's okay to simply just be. You don't, even beyond like the appreciating what you've done and the adding more fun to your life where you can, it's okay to just sit down and do nothing for the sake of sitting down and doing nothing. Because you are still you. And it's you who is enough as you are, if that makes sense. If a tree is enough of a tree simply by being a tree, you are enough of you simply by being you. And I mean that in the sense of like, we don't knock a tree for just being a tree all day. But also think of what happened, like what a tree does without even trying. Trees take in the carbon dioxide to create more oxygen. Trees are, a lot of times they can create food and fruit simply from their branches, or their branches become home to other animals. There is so much a tree does simply by being a tree. And I think that maybe that's something to explore within yourself. As you are, simply existing, without performing, without overgiving, without constantly doing. What are some things that you notice that you do simply just by being? Anyway, I think that's pretty much all I have for y'all today. I do hope this message helped. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, please check out the link in the description. Check out my website. I would love to work with you. But if nothing else, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and carve out some time for rest and fun. It was good to see you, friend. Have a good one. Love and light. Hello, gorgeous. If you chose pile 2 with the Sodalite or the I am capable affirmation, this reading is going to be for you. Today we are diving into a certain aspect of your shadow and figuring out how we can kind of work with this energy and love ourselves a little bit deeper. So like I said, you guys chose the I am capable affirmation, and on the back of each card I did get a little bit of a automatic writing kind of scry to see, let's see if this kind of resonates with your vibe right now. It says, sometimes I feel powerless to my circumstances, like no matter how hard I try, I cannot win. It feels like I have heavy boulders on both shoulders and I'm still pushing another up a hill endlessly. It would be easier to just give up. I need to remember all of the things I've been strong enough to get through that led me here. Remind me how resilient and adaptable I am. So I do get with this group kind of a victim mentality where it feels like there have been so many situations, problems, and just one thing after another within your life where it feels like you don't have room to breathe or room to just relax. Like we're always on the anxious aspect of waiting for the next thing to come, or it feels like we're still struggling to handle the things that we already have on our plate. Like it kind of says within this, I kind of get that Sisyphus vibe of like, his name was Sisyphus, right? Correct me if I'm wrong here, because I don't know too much with Greek mythology, but it's that vibe of like constantly pushing this boulder that's rolling down a hill and not being able to take a step back or just breathe, for lack of a better term. It's this idea of, you know, there are so many things that are happening and so many things that are yet to happen, and we're questioning if we have the strength to continue to even just go by the day by day. And I'm here to say that you are very strong and capable within yourself. And it's okay to ask for help or advice from other people, and that does not make you less capable or less strong. And I know sometimes that's not what we want to hear when we adapt and we show our strength through our resilience in situations. We don't want to hear how strong we've been or how much we've been pushing on because we just want to break. So I'm also getting this vibe that maybe there's something currently that you're going through where it feels like this is going to be too much. This is the end. I can't push any deeper than this. And I'm hearing, I think it's a Rise Against song. Help is on the way. So it seems like I'm also getting an image of Mrs. Doubtfire. I don't know. I don't know if you've seen that, but the whole help is on the way, dearie. And I think that like if you get either that song or that specific like sound on TikTok, like the Rise Against song or the specific like Mrs. Doubtfire song, or you see Mrs. Doubtfire like, I don't know, in your everyday life, like something about it, I think that that's a sign that help is coming in, or a sign, like a synchronicity to kind of remind you like there's somebody here or there's something here that is going to help you. I also get this like strong presence of like energy surrounding the people of this group. So I do want you to know, if it ever feels like you are alone in what you're handling or struggling with, there are some, if you subscribe to the belief, there are some unseen energies that kind of follow around you. I do think for some of you, these are some passed on pets or passed on loved ones that have attached themselves to you just to watch and guide you throughout your life. But otherwise, there are other angels, ancestors, and spirit guides that are truly there to support you. And if you want them to present themselves within your life and to show that you're there, all you have to do is ask for a sign. You can be specific and say like, hey, I want to see this specific bird to know that you're there, or this specific symbol to know I want this to happen to show me that you guys are there and actually supporting me, or just generally asking for a symbol or sign of support. I do think that these spirits, so to speak, are readily available to want to show you that they are on your side and they're there to help you through things. But I do want to get into some tarot cards to kind of explore this energy further and see what pops out for y'all under this idea of I am capable and I can make it through. So here we have the World card to start off, which comes as the wheel in this. I have the Lightseer tarot deck out here today. Okay. We also have the Eight of Swords in reverse, the Four of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and with the bottom of the deck energy here, we have the Ten of Swords. So we're going to start in the middle and work our way out here, because what I'm hearing is rest and reflect with this Four of Swords energy. I feel like maybe currently you guys are in a more stagnant position, or with something that you've been trying to work on, it feels like you keep hitting a wall. And what I'm hearing is wait for the tools. So when it feels like in a certain situation, maybe you're hitting writer's block in a certain scenario, or you feel like you can't progress any further in a certain relationship or a certain project that you're working on, or really anything that kind of comes at you in life, if it feels like you can't progress further on it, take that time to rest and reflect and wait for the tools to either knock down the wall in front of you or scale over it. I have a feeling that this group might deal with a little bit of feeling like they have to do it all on their own. feeling like the universe is putting them in situations where it's hard to manage, and that it feels like it's all on you to figure a way out. And I do think that the universe wants to provide you with more help and assurance within certain situations, but it's about taking that extra time when it feels like you've hit these roadblocks to strategize how to navigate out of it. And that's not to say that you have to take this time of resting and reflecting to plan through all of these things or plan out everything. It's more of, I think you are being asked to take the time to rest and reflect so you can recharge and have the energy to move forward. Now, starting over here at the wheel, it feels like some of this reflection needs to be, and maybe even an example here is like taking a list of the things that you have already overcome by yourself, so to speak. Take a list of things that you have already accomplished and conquered with your energy. Even if there was a little bit of help, like from some advice or some inspiration from other people there, you put in the solid work to take these steps forward, and maybe seeing a list of these achievements in front of you might help you realize just how resilient you are. Because I feel like when it comes to these certain problems or situations that you end up in, it's almost like there's this object permanence to the things that you have already overcome and accomplished in the past. And I think it kind of puts you in this trapped mindset, so to speak. Because when the Eight of Swords is in upright, it talks about being trapped in your mind or being trapped in certain situations and scenarios and not having a way out. But when it's upside down like this, it's kind of more talking about you've seen these limitations within you, and you understand that a lot of these obstacles are mental. It feels like maybe creating more problems than there are, if that makes sense. Like anxiousness kind of spirals you into thinking how many different ways a scenario could turn out, rather than being present enough to realize, what's going to happen is going to happen. And once it does happen, I can face it then. But creating all of these scenarios of the potential of a situation is just going to make me spiral further. I'm getting the sense of some of you for like working in phases when it comes to specific things, whether that be like working 30 minutes on something, taking a 5-minute break, working 30 minutes, taking a 5-minute break, or working more with cycles of some sort. Maybe that's like having restrictions at certain parts of the day, like rather than working through a lunch break, taking that as a break to enjoy yourself and rest a little bit and then moving forward. Or maybe for some of you guys, this has to do with spell work and you're being asked to like look at the phases of the moon when it comes to the certain things that you want to work on. But it feels like maybe having more boundaries in terms of your work cycle, if that makes sense. I get the sense that there is like some sort of ending that you are going through in something right now. This could be within a job. This could be within a relationship. This could be really anything within your life. There's some sort of ending here that felt heavy and difficult to face. But if you see in the Ten of Swords, there's this kind of like melancholic aspect to it, but the sun is rising on the horizon. So there is this hopeful energy that whatever this person has left behind is only in terms to walk towards something better and more meant for them. There is this idea currently of going through a loss of some sort. Like it feels like you lost a battle here or lost in a situation. But I think that this loss, so to speak, was meant to be a catalyst to rebuild. I think there's something that you've been currently working on here. And I don't think that that is necessarily related to the loss in a sense. But I think that this loss is creating a sort of perspective shift. I think it goes back to this wheel here where it's this closing of a cycle. And the more that you embrace letting go of this specific thing, the more that you are going to feel free and released of this shackle of this like victim mentality that we're talking about. Because I think that this perspective shift that is being called here was to show you that you are not a victim to your circumstance, but you are a champion of your struggles. Does that make sense? I get this sort of like underdog energy with this group where it's like you've been through shit, people have thrown shit at you, it feels like you are on your own trying to get through this journey, and then suddenly there's a lucky strike or something happens and something that you've been working on is taking off, and then all of a sudden you catapult yourself into like this win, this changing energy. Like all of a sudden all of the things that you have been through, or a lot of the things that you've been through, start to make sense, and how it's like built, how you've built yourself into who you are now because of how you've gotten over the things that you've been through in the past. It's like shifting this mindset of all of the things, I've always been through shit, I'm always going through shit, shit always finds me, to I've always grown from this shit. I've always used the shit that I've been through to push myself forward and to become stronger. It's not just, I've been through this sucks, but look at the person that I've become through this shitty experience. Look at what I've built because of it, like through the bullshit that I've been through. Like I said, I think it's that mostly that mindset shift of, rather than like the things I've been through before suck, to look at who I've become because I'm strong enough to get over these things that I've been through. And then further than looking at who you've become after you've proven the resilience, the adaptability, and the change from the stuff that you've been through, to, well, what can I create now with this power that I've discovered within myself, the strength that I have shown? Because if I've already been through all of this shit, chances are that I've grown from it, I've adapted, I've changed, I've gotten stronger, and I have more knowledge to move forward into something better. There's this idea here of not giving up on yourself, no matter how hard shit turns out to be. Like, I get this concept of like, if your friend came to you and had just been through something heavy or just been through something tumultuous, you would continue to tell them to keep going. You would tell them to take care of themselves, heal from that circumstance, and then push forward. There's both this needing grace within this period of healing and resting and readjusting and taking care of yourself, but also reminding yourself that this is not the end. Of whatever you're going through right now, this ending is not the ending of your life, because you have so much more to experience and discover and explore here. If you look, it's like an empty land space that she has to walk forward to. This idea of there's so much unknown here, but the unknown should be exciting because it breeds new experience. And I feel like for a long time, especially with the wheel being here, it's felt like cycling of the same shit over and over again. A lot of similar experiences, a lot of being let down. And I think this perspective shift of understanding that like you don't have to adhere to these specific behaviors that you had before, or these specific kind of people. You don't have to settle in these situations, kind of changing that mindset to realize that you are capable of creating the things that you want to exist. Like I said, when it comes to hitting a wall as you're pushing forward with your healing or your projects or whatever it is that you are trying to garner some sort of productivity on, it's remembering that if it, like I said, if it feels like you've hit a wall, to take that step back and allow adjustments to be made accordingly. Like I said, sometimes it's taking the rest that you need before you go up and scale the wall and walk over it yourself, or sometimes it's waiting until the demolition crew comes in and can knock down that wall for you. And also recognizing in each scenario, is it something within me or my mindset or my work ethic or something that's going on here that's not jiving up that needs to be changed? Or do I truly just need to ask for help from another person and get that perspective shift or that extra little help or piece of advice from somebody else in order to move forward? I'm also being drawn to see that she is laying in a nest here, a nest being like a bird's home. This could be a call that there is something within like your family or someone within your family to talk to, hang out with, maybe recharge, hang out with your family for a little bit. Maybe it's been a while. Or, and that doesn't just mean blood. That could also mean like chosen family or the place that you were raised. Maybe this is like going back to your hometown or going back to your childhood house, and there might be something that sparks up there for you. This could also be a call to like, maybe there's something within your home to declutter or clean here, or maybe just like resting at home. I think for some of you, this is like turning your place of rest into a place that feels like rest. Whether that be, like I said, like decluttering, cleaning up a little bit, or maybe even redecorating in some way. Something with your home, whether that be, like I said, like a childhood home, revisiting it, or hanging out with family, or your home currently, creating it to be more of a homey vibe that you want to find rest in, that you want to recoup and recharge in, somewhere that you can find the revitalizing joy to keep going. And I'm getting for some of you that it's like designating certain areas of your house for purpose, whether that be like, I don't know if maybe you eat in your bed or do work in your bed, turning your bed into a place for sleeping might help you get more restful sleep, if that makes sense. You know, designating these specific areas. Like if you find yourself working in your bed constantly, finding somewhere else to designate for work, whether that be like a desk or a table or a chair in another room, and then making sure that your bed is being used just for rest so your mind doesn't like get it confused, if that makes sense. And the same thing if like you find yourself eating full meals in your bed. I'm not telling you like to stop snacking in your bed or stop whatever. Like this is just some advice, something to try if you would like. You could always like try to set up somewhere else to eat in your house that is designated for eating. Having more purpose in different areas of your house so you can, or home of any sort, so you can like enjoy your home with intent, so to speak. I think that's going to kind of help some of this more cluttered mindset that I'm kind of seeing here, this kind of like anxiety. But I do highly, out of like everything here, see something about something in your past helping you have that change in perspective that we're talking about, from I go through these experiences and these experiences suck and take a toll on me, to I rise from these experiences and I have more strength and knowledge because of these failures so that I can win in the next round or in the next future, or in the future kind of vibe. There's something here, like I said, whether that's talking with family, old friends, revisiting a childhood home, maybe there's some old journal entries or memories. I'm getting for some of you guys, maybe it's home videos to take a look at. Or like I said in the beginning, and maybe even it's just writing a list of some of the shit that you know has been tougher to get through, but you didn't think in the moment you could get through it. But then look at you now, you are here, surviving, if not going to be thriving soon enough. So, but there is something here about, like I said, the main things are taking that time to rest and reflect, creating a safe space to rest and reflect, and then also going back and reflecting on something specific from your past here. Because I'm getting, something that I get quite a bit is this idea of looking back might be the way to move forward. And if you see, these two are kind of paired together, so it looks like as she's doing some kind of work or reflection here, taking steps in something or looking back at something, it propels into this movement forward onto this like new beginning, this new experience of sorts. And also my underdog here, give yourself more props for who you have become already. Give yourself that pat on the back and celebrate the fact that you have been strong enough to get through the things that you have been through before and to be here now facing this situation as is. I think that might help instill more of this congratulatory sense to you rather than this powerless sense of there are circumstances I can't control. Instead, knowing that you can't control anything really but yourself, and the way that you've been handling it, whether or not it seems or feels like it, I think is with more grace than most. But do take some time to relax and nurture yourself at this time, because this does feel like it has been heavy on you and your soul, and I think you just deserve some peace of mind if you can take the time to try to create that for yourself. And like I said, remember that if you need help, I do think help is on the way, but it doesn't hurt to ask the universe to provide you a helping hand in whatever scenario you're in, and I think you'll be surprised by the results. But if nothing else, I do hope this message helped today. If you are interested in booking a personal reading with me, please check out the link in the description below. Check out my website. I would love to work with you. And yeah, love and light, my friend. Thank you for staying for the reading. Take care of yourself, all right? You deserve it. Have a good one. Hello to my last and final group. Today we are looking to a certain aspect of your shadow and how we can work with and love it deeper. And if you chose the Petrified Wood or the I Am Worthy affirmation, then this is going to be for you. And I tried to... Forgive my cards that keep falling off the wall. I tried to get a little bit of a automatic writing kind of scry when I was getting into these messages, so let me know if this resonates. For the I Am Worthy card, it says, "Sometimes I feel like my dreams are too big for me. Who am I out of the billions of people to say or deserve anything? I sometimes think about how smarter, stronger, or more worthy others are than me, and it makes me feel like there's no point to keep going. I need to remember that I have this dream for a reason. Show me the work that I do is enough. Remind me, if not me, then who?" So I feel like this group might be struggling with quite a bit of imposter syndrome in this idea of not being the right person for the job, so to speak, not being educated enough or strong enough or smart enough or whatever enough to accomplish said task or goal or even fill in a specific role in life. It feels like there's quite a bit of, like I said initially, this imposter syndrome of there are other people who do it so much better than I do, or there are other people who deserve these things so much more than I do. This idea of not feeling like when accepting a gift, it feeling like you can't accept the gift because who am I to deserve said gift? And looking to this idea of maybe it's because of who you are that you deserve these things. Maybe it's because you put in the work that you deserve these things. Maybe there is somebody out there who could do the job in a different way, but that doesn't mean that they're doing it better because you're showing up as yourself and you're doing it as you unapologetically, and that's what counts. We're going to get into some tarot cards here to kind of delve into this aspect further and understand more of this shadow side and how to work with it. I am using the Light Seer Tarot today, if anybody is interested in this deck. So let's see what comes out for this group. So we have the Sun. We have Justice. The Ace of Pentacles, and the bottom of the deck energy, we are taking the Page of Pentacles. This Justice caught my eye first, so we're going to start with her here, because if you'll notice, there's this, like I said, this is the Light Seer Tarot, so this kind of deals with light and attribute sides, and when I'm looking at this picture that is separated by the sword here, I'm thinking of this sword as metaphorically clear thinking, because when we see swords in tarot, we think about, like, mental energy and mental expansion, and the way that she's kind of looking down at this shadow who, in a way, has this, like, shit-eating grin face, kind of, I'm seeing it as this, like, inner critic, or maybe there are some critics within your life that are kind of pushing back against her, trying to tell her how, you know, she ain't shit. You know, why would you be the person to fucking do any of this? Why, out of everybody here, you think that you're worthy of these things working out for you? And you'll notice that through this clear thinking, this, we'll call it the sword of truth that she's unsheathing here, she just looks back at all of these critiques with a smile and with this knowing look. Because there's something in her, it feels like, that accepts the fact that she is not perfect. But that is not what makes her worthy. It's the fact that she is going through and attempting this. It is the fact that she is willing to learn. It is the fact that she has actually tried to achieve her goals that make her worthy of results. And that's what I'm also kind of seeing here with the Ace of Pentacles. There's also another story with it where you'll notice the roots are going down so much more than the plant that is being blossomed from the top here. And I think that's kind of a call to look at and reflect within yourself to see just how much you have built, even if you're not seeing so much of the prosperity of it, because I feel like that could be what's kind of getting you down right now, right? Is that you've put in all this effort, you're putting all this work for change or for some desired outcome, and you're not seeing much result of it in this reality yet. But while there is a little bit of result that I see that's kind of coming up here, if you'll notice, there's quite a bit of roots and stability that have been adapted because of the work that you're doing. I think there is this disconnect from recognizing just how far you've already come, that if you really did take a step back to see that progression, you would realize how much closer you are already to being, to garnering in these things that you desire or this outcome that you want to see. This idea that you've been putting in the stability and the foundation for things, whether that be just personal stability and foundation by doing the work on yourself, or foundation and stability within a certain project that you want to see results in. There is so much evidence already here that you have put the effort in. And there's some aspect of needing to appreciate how far you've already come before you can garner in the thing that you desire. I'm also seeing with like the sun here, I'm getting this sense of like, don't take it too seriously. Because I feel like part of what's going on here is this, like I said, it goes back with this imposter syndrome of like making the wrong step or making the wrong choice because you don't feel like you are the person for the job, so to speak. And there's this idea of just flow with it and have fun. You have to learn on the go. In any aspect of life or any direction you're choosing to take, this is your first time experiencing these things. And if it's not your first time experiencing something, then you might have been through something similar that you had to fail to learn through. And at this point, you are being asked to take what you know from the experiences you've had and allow yourself to make more mistakes as you move on. I feel like sometimes we get into this mindset of like, well, I've been through something like this before, I should have known better. Or I consciously should have known better when I did something and I still made that mistake anyway. We don't need to sit there and beat ourselves up over these mistakes. Obviously, taking the time to reflect and see it for what it is because we don't want to make that mistake again. But instead of just harshly critiquing ourselves, allowing that as a chance for us to see where we may need to adapt and change something. With the Page of Pentacles here, I'm getting that whatever this is, this certain aspect of self or this certain thing that you want to work on, you are kind of in the beginning stages of something. But you'll see that like, maybe this is something for a while that you've been in the beginning stages of and you've kind of had to redevelop and try over and over again. You'll see here that she's kind of got better balance, it seems, than maybe she would have before. And while she still is in the beginning as a beginner, has so much more to learn and grow from, she's able to sit here and stand on one foot with balance so easily. It's one of those things where it is all about perspective. While in your truth, you might know yourself to be a beginner at something or not super educated in something. First off, it's good not to go in with the mindset of knowing it all, because that gives you the ability to learn as you're going through it, and it gives you more grace to use that learning and knowledge to your will. But that doesn't mean that's how other people perceive you either. You know what I mean? I feel like we get so warped in our own perspective sometimes that it kind of fogs out the truth and also fogs out other people's truths. We get so harsh on ourselves and become our worst critics to such a degree that we don't see or we don't believe when other people think so highly of us or talk us up or even just try to compliment us. I think it's this aspect of taking critiques with a grain of salt, but also like listening to them, if that makes sense, but not letting them bug you down as much as using that as simply what it is, a critique. a critique also doesn't mean truth, whether it be a self-critique or a critique from another person. But it is something that we can factor into our results. If we listen to it, is this something that we agree needs to change, or something that we agree we would like to see a shift on? And if we don't agree with it, we don't have to take it into account either. You know what I mean? Like I said, I think some of this imposter syndrome comes from this concept of taking things too seriously. If whatever you were trying to progress in, you were told was simply for the joy of creating or the joy of doing, rather than the result, would that change how you look at it? And I think it also kind of goes back to that last sentence that I had written on the card there, where if not you, then who? You are the only person that truly sees life through your perspective completely. People might have shared experiences or shared moral values, but you are the only one that can see things how you do. And I think that for whatever particular avenue of your life you are trying to channel that energy of you, it's necessary, because there are other people out there in a similar vein to you that might need to see the pathway that you pave, so then they can follow it to their own extent. You know what I mean? It's this idea of you don't have to be the best singer to be a singer. You don't have to be the best artist to create art. That shouldn't be the determiner of whether or not you want to do something or progress in something. It should be, does this bring you fulfillment? And is this something that you would like to see result in? That's what should be your driving force forward, the intrinsic motivation, not how are others going to perceive this, or how am I coming across right now? And I think that's kind of what we're meaning by taking things a little less seriously. If you were told there was no wrong step to take, what step would you take forward? You know what I mean? Like, rather than sitting in this waiting period of what direction or what thing should I do next, taking it upon yourself to make that choice and then just wait to see the result, which I know can be scary sometimes because we get concerned that we're going to make a wrong decision, so to speak, and it sets us back a couple of steps. But it's also remembering that every time that you have taken a step backwards, you've also found yourself moving forward again. And there is evidence within your life of that, I assure you. And I do think that this group really just has an issue trusting themselves at times when it comes to this, if that makes sense. It's like, I feel like you guys know more or less what steps are going to feel better than others to take. And it's just trusting yourself that to take that step, but also trusting yourself, like I said, that if you do make a misstep or you get confused, the universe is not out here to punish you. You will find your way forward again. I think sometimes when we talk about like tests and breaking cycles, we get into this idea of it being like pass or fail. And that's a toxic mindset to go in with. It's not so much pass or fail as it is you're going to continue until you've learned the lesson, which you need to take at your own speed and to your own degree. In school, I think we get so big into this concept of like, I need to pass this test in order to get a good grade, when the universe wants you to see these situations from a mindset of, well, if I don't understand this now, it's going to keep happening until I understand it. Which is not meant to hinder you, but it's meant to help you to see the truth in things, or to see your power. Which is why a lot of times, a lot of these same lessons will spark up again and again until we've learned our truth in a situation. Not as a way to force us into this mundane, all of the same, tumultuous problems with hard solutions, but more of so we can understand things better, so we can learn from our experiences. And I do want to delve deeper into this, if not you, then who? Because I do truly believe that if there is a dream in your heart, it was placed there for a reason. I'm sorry for the cliche. And like I said, you don't have to be the most educated or the wisest or the strongest person or the best at this in order to pursue it, as long as it's something that you love. Because chances are, a lot of the times, the best person that we deem for the job isn't going for that job. But if you are trying and attempting and failing and doing it over and over and over again, then that shows the passion and the effort that this is important to you. And you should be able to pursue it simply because of that. Say you want to be good at drawing, and you can't even make a stick figure to start out. With enough practice and dedication and time, you get better at that. This thing that you are gunning for is no different. Anything in life is something that we can get better at with time, effort, and practice. And it looks to me here like you've done a lot of the practice, time, and the effort. It's just about appreciating how far you've come from where you began to where you are now to see that you are truly worthy of this result here. Xing out that imposter syndrome that is telling you that you are a faker or you're performative or there's somebody so much better out there than you, and knowing that, yeah, but you're the only one that's you doing this. And whatever special brand of weird you have to bring to the table is something that we need right now, or that the world needs to see. So allowing yourself to do it for the sake of your passion, this intrinsic motivation, saying fuck all to whatever voices around you or in your head are saying that you are not good enough, seeing how far you've already come, seeing the little bit of result that stems from it, and keep going, knowing that you've built this solid foundation for yourself and that you're ready to learn more, and that with every failure that has come before you, you have moved on and prospered, and you will continue to. As long as you remember this mindset that I feel like comes through with this imposter syndrome of you will always be a student, even if you are a teacher, I think that there's this nobleness to that. That kind of, this nobleness and this humbleness almost to it, where I think it's going to benefit you more in the long run even. Obviously, yes, giving yourself credit for how far you've come and how much you've developed and the things that you are good at. But also remembering that even if you were at the top of the food chain, you would still have to learn from other people. Does that make sense? Even if you are the best at something, there is still always going to be something to learn. And as long as you keep that mindset moving forward, knowing that with every failure that comes ahead, you will continue to conquer and learn from that, and to not shame yourself, but instead congratulate yourself when you grow from those things, I think things are going to feel a lot lighter. I'm getting a message I've gotten a couple times before of that song Dancing Through Life from the Wicked soundtrack. While I'm not telling you to say fuck all and just like doze off your days and just lazily go about whatever, I think there is this little aspect of, like I said before, not taking things too seriously. And remembering that if shit goes south, you can always rebuild yourself. You can always learn from that situation. Take criticism gracefully and filter in and discern how much of it you think that you want to internalize and change with, and how much of it is just bullshit people are spouting because people like to hear themselves talk. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I am getting this message of abundance as well. This might be something with finances. If some of you guys have been saving up, I feel like it's also a question to look at how much you've saved already for some of you. Maybe you've been budgeting and it's feeling like it's been endless. Take a look at how much you've already saved, and maybe for some of you guys, it's also a call to start planning and budgeting so you can start seeing the accumulation of your wealth. But if nothing else, when this imposter syndrome kind of comes through, I'm hearing movement. So this might be some like anxiety that you guys tackle within your life or fight with. Maybe a little bit of movement or stepping out into the sunlight, maybe going on a nature walk, something like that to kind of like dull the voices down and listen to, whether that be dancing, listen to the music, whether that be going outside, listening to the wind or the sounds of nature. I think for a lot of you guys, maybe taking those nature walks and reminding yourself how small a lot of these nagging voices really are in the grander scheme of things, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Actually, one more thing. Cloud scrying too might help you guys quite a bit. I don't know if you scry personally, but when you look at the clouds and you see like little images or whatever within them, kind of talk to nature, talk to the universe, talk to clouds. If you have any questions or you feel like your mind is too muddled, see what kind of comes out in the shapes of clouds, because I feel like there might be some messages there for you. But if nothing else, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for staying for the reading. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, please check out the link in the description below. Check out my website. I would love to work with you. You are doing so much better than you give yourself credit for, and I need you to give yourself a pat on the back, because the fact that you are trying is simply enough, and you are worthy. Love and light. Have a great day.